What's going on, Dragon Ballers? We're here with team captain Markus Kantarci. He had an awesome tournament result this past weekend, so tell us a little bit what you did.
So I came to ARG Vegas with a old school leader, Hirudegarn, and I played an old school deck, Chain Zen-Oh.
Red, blue, Hirudegarn, tried and true.
And I did fairly well. I think it has a good place in the meta, and I think the meta is very diverse right now. And that's why Chain Zen-Oh is kind of so good, because it's so good against everything, right? Just, you can never go wrong with resetting the game. So
yeah, the ultimate nullifier, you got a 50-50 in every matchup. Really solid. You've been on this deck for a long time. Maybe can you give us a little bit about why that's been?
Yeah, I've been on this deck for about 2 months now, and I've been playtesting against, Shenron Gogeta and Janemba a lot, and they're still very tough decks to beat, but I feel like Chain Zen-Oh kind of gives you the best odds of beating them, unless you play a specific counter to them, but then you're not good against the rest of the decks, so Chain Zen-Oh is kind of the best overall deck in my opinion. So against all the babies, against all the brawlies, I've been having pretty much a lot of success versus them.
Nice. Give you the best statistics across the board?
Yes.
Cool. Let's get into the main deck.
Alright, so right off the bat, we have the Chain Zen-Oh package, right? I only play 3 of these because I don't see myself playing it on turn 1 and swinging with it ever. And I don't see myself evolving that much. So I only play 3. If I draw it, I draw it. If not, whatever, it's not a big deal. But you definitely want a 4-3 Chain and Zen-Oh split. You always want to have this ready to go. Depending on the matchups. Against Janemba, you'll want it ready to go right away in your mulligan. Against Shenron Gogeta, you have the option of going Chain Zen-Oh route, or maybe really aggressive route where you drop them to 1 or 2 life so they can't do their Gogeta at all cost combo stuff. So you have lots of options against that deck. Against everything else, you could just mulligan for something like Objection, which we'll see later on.
And the majority of the time, you're just going to go like hard cast, chain attack in the late game?
Yes. As soon as I get to 4 energy, and if I'm not awakened, I love playing Chain Zen-Oh.
Gotcha.
It's the best to play Chain Zen-Oh, awaken afterwards, while you have 4 energy, swing with leader, and then they have to top deck 1 card. So it's really nice. Moving along, I have 1 unyielding because of, the ban list that people are, I guess, not too happy with, but I think it's a great ban list. 1 unyielding is definitely fair.
I feel like it's a flute treatment. Like at 1, it's like okay, but like not the best thing, and it gets charged a lot. Right.
I didn't see myself being really clutch with it. I think there was maybe 1 game out of like the 12-13 games I played today where I was like, oh wow, I got unyielding after I played like Food Shrouded of Mystery, and then now I could play a Kava as well. Maybe that was like the only time.
Right.
Yeah, it was very rare. 4 Hoist super combos. It's great for just digging and cycling more cards.
I think it's the best card in the game?
Yeah, and you could only do it while you're at 4 life or less, not 6. I guess I did that on stream.
Shout out to Markus on stream.
And then 3 objections. Objection is the key to a lot of matchups, and a lot of times if you go first against another fair deck like Chain Zen-Oh, playing objection is great. If you go against Janemba, playing objection is great. But if you go against stuff like Brawly or Baby, you kind of want to skip on it because your turn 2 play is very important. Your 2 energy play where you could swing with Kabas or swing with a leader, give it double strike. When you need that early aggression against some certain decks like Gogeta as well, you kind of want to skip the objection route because you lose your turn 2 play, which is kind of the turn that your opponent is the most vulnerable to like a combo attack. So I only play it when either A, I go first, or B, it's a safe matchup to go against. So against the fair decks, play objection. Against Shenron Gogeta and stuff, it's kind of scary if they play Dende, so then I won't do it.
I was just about to ask, were you ever afraid if you... I was going to ask, were you ever afraid of getting like Dende looped or anything like that?
I was, yeah. I played against Kevin, and Kevin was playing as Shenron Gogeta, and I was scared that he was maining Dendes. My play tester friend Jose, who helped me out big time, he played Dendes in his Shenron, and once he killed me with Dende a bunch of times, I'm like, I have to respect that deck. Yeah,
For sure.
I have to respect that card. So, yeah. Dimension Magic, it is surprisingly really clutch, especially in this deck, because I could go aggro if I want, and then I'll have Sparking 5 for some negates. Or a lot of times I found myself at 5 life, and Janemba will swing into me with a crit, and I would just negate it so I could get to 4 life and awaken without having to take that crit. It's surprisingly a really clutch card. Gotta make sure you have Sparking 5. Sometimes with your overwhelms, that could get a little bit tricky.
I remember people were like, "Oh my God, you can't play sparking with overwhelms," but now people find the right ratios.
Right. It's nice with Hirudegarn because he discards 1 on leader effect to draw 2. It's nice with Hoi because you discard to draw 2. So you feel your overwhelm not as bad as you may think. Then you have Senzu Beans, just a generic defensive card. I actually didn't find myself playing it too much or being very useful, except maybe against Pan. If Pan goes wide with their double shots, then Senzu Bean is great. But other than that, I didn't find myself extending my plays too much.
Yeah, I noticed in I don't remember if it was top card, like one of the last rounds of Swiss, but a Pan player went wide against you, and it actually did help you a lot right there.
Yes, that was like one of the only cases, but yeah, that was pretty clutch for sure. I'll go into my overwhelms next. I played with 1 Dimension Banisher Fu, 1 Mira, and 1 Fu Shroud of Mystery.
So that's a stacked lineup, and there's no Scientist Fu, so yeah, definitely talk about this.
Yeah, I did test with Scientist Fu, and it's a great overall card, right? But in a field where Janemba is very popular, you play Scientist Fu, you draw 2, you help out their cause of milling you, and also when you swing with it, 25k attack, even though it is a lot, against Janemba it's nothing.
They have so much combo power, yeah.
Right, so I found myself in testing that I could swing with Fu and combo to 45 or 50, but Janemba would just combo over it. So I needed to find alternatives to that, and I found Mira, which is basically you can't combo over it, or if you do, thank you for wiping your hand, or Shroud of Mystery, which just shuts off all their plays. Shroud of Mystery is definitely the card to go to against Janemba. You build up your board, and then you just play Shrouded and swing for game. Mira helps in the early game when you want to do like a quick 2 damage. You could play Mira with a Champa, or even if you want to drop them from 4 to 3 before you Chain Zen-Oh, you could play just Mira, get it out of the way, and then make sure you get Shrouded. You're 1-0 Shrouded. And then the Dimension Banisher Fu was a tech choice against Baby Vegeta decks who play the big grade 8. That was a last minute tech choice. It does get rid of it, and you have 5 cards in your discard pile fairly easy. Most of the times I kind of sided it out. Against Janemba, I sided more in actually because Janemba feels your overwhelm so easily. I was playing overwhelms every turn against it. So yeah, that's my overwhelm choice. And now we're going to get into the red cards, which kind of make up the deck. We have 4 Unbreakables, just standard super combo, more power to your attacks. And then I played with 3 Kais instead of the Champa, just because I could chain attack him out in desperate situations, or I could use 2 red energy to play him and swing with him if I need that extra damage. 3 Kaba. At first I didn't have Kabas at all in my deck, but then I realized it's a really good aggression card. And against Shenron Gojitas, or even Brawlies where they take their whole entire life, you play a 1 energy card to deal potentially 2 damage while they're tapped out. At worst case, they use a time magic, take a life. You just get a lot of value out of them. Helps you self-awaken.
Yeah, personal experience for Broly, they do not like to be aggroed.
Yeah, I love playing against Brawly decks because they would aggro me down. I would slow them with the time magics, or I just combo over with my Hois, and then on my turn, I would play a Kaba, swing, you use leader, double strike, awaken, have all this energy, and just tear them apart. It was really fun playing against Brawlies. Another core card in this deck, I think, is Digging Deep. I've been really seeing his value more and more lately. It's overall just such a good card on 3 energy. If my turn 1 and 2 I play a Kaba and I go to 6 life, or let's say they swung into me with Brawly like they always do, and they put me to 6 life, I could play Digging Deep, swing, go down to 4, awaken, and then maybe play another Kaba and swing for more damage, and just go really wide, really powerful. He enables you to do a lot of things. Against Janemba, I could go from maybe like 6 to 5 life, and then restand him and do it again next turn as well. He's very versatile, and he's very powerful, being a 20k on swing, and you get 2 swings out of it. So 2 20k swings for 3 energy. So this was the kind of the core overall deck. Everything after which I had about 8 slots left for more red cards and red tech cards. And obviously one after a Chain Zen-Oh is Foreseeing Hit. Once you play Chain Zen-Oh, the next turn if you follow it up with a Foreseeing Hit on top of your leader ability, you just take control over the game. No matter what the matchup is, you just have control. And from there on, you just kind of snowball. Even if it does get grindy, it's just you have so much knowledge and you have so much hand advantage that they just can't come back from it. So hit is really important in Janemba matchups and pan matchups. It's very important. So mirror match Chain Zen-Oh decks is very important. Against Baby Vegeta, it's great. You could play it, take out their combo pieces from their hands, so they can't do that. As you might think it's good against Shenron Gogeta because you're gonna say, oh, you take away their Gogetas, but if it gets to that point where you have to play that, that is a bad sign to begin with. Unless you objection, which you don't want to, then I would play hit. But against Shenron Gogeta, I never see myself playing hit because I want to kill them before that. After that, some more tech choices. One Planet M2 just gives me overall value. So this could have been another Kava or another Trunks, but I figured it's better. It could stop stuff like Borgos, which I thought would be very popular, but it wasn't. But I found myself that it stops stuff like Crisis Crusher, which is great. Some 5k blockers. Oh yeah, I played against a Brawly deck. I think his name was Ken. And he sided in Gene blockers because he saw my aggro. And then, yeah, it's just I played Planet M2 and I was killing his Chronoas, his Gene blockers. It was bad for him. So, yeah, Planet M2 can come in pretty clutch sometimes.
I think M2 is the best one-up in the game.
Yeah, it really is. And at worst case, you could just ditch it for Hoi and just draw 2. So then I played just one burst attack Gohan.
Just one lonely boy. I wish you played more, but okay.
Yeah, I didn't find him that useful. Once again, it's in those situations where it's like if you're desperate, he comes in clutch, but you don't want to be desperate. You always want to be in control. And then just 2 bodyguard Legics. This was probably not that useful, but its only usefulness is against Shenron Gogeta, where turn 1 they play like a Borgos or some sort of, you know, Chronoa, like cantrip card. Then you could play Legic, and then you play Kaba, and then you just swing with your leader Legic Kaba. That's 4 attacks on turn 1 going second.
Some free pressure, yeah.
Yeah, and they can't deal with it because they're, you know, a Shenron Gogeta deck. They're a 5 energy deck, so they can't deal with just the regular 15k guy. Their leader can't attack, they can't do anything. So, yeah, that was tech choice for that.
That's the main deck. Let's see the side deck.
Yeah, so side deck.
You're doing such a good job explaining. I don't have to ask questions.
Standard against all the Brawly hype, 2 Chronoa. You want to be super safe against the Shugesh. I'm pretty sure I sided it in against yellow decks that didn't even play Shugesh, but it just gives you that safety net.
Gotta be safe. Yep.
Especially when you swing with Kaba for game and you combo to 60k, you don't want to get a random Shugesh explosive. Still have nightmares from the Mecha Veggie days. And then 2 Killy Zones. You know, Chain Zen-Oh is a really big part of the deck. I thought I might actually come across like Preemptive Strike, so I was like, it's good against that as well. But because of all the Brawlies, of course you have to play that. Then last minute tech choice, 2 Flame Cannons. The mono blue matchup against Hirudegarn is really bad with this deck because the mono blue card for card is better than you are. They play Flame Cannons at 4, they play the 4 super combos, they play Deadly Defenders sometimes. They just have more value than you do. And so if you Chain Zen-Oh them, they draw into much better cards than you do, and their leader also makes you top deck. So the mono blue matchup is by far the worst matchup, and I thought maybe 2 Flame Cannons would help. And it does help, but it's still not that great.
Still pretty rough.
Yeah.
I know this put in a lot of work for your Janemba matchup in Top Cut though, right?
Oh yeah, against Janemba, it's really good. I was playing against Russell Seltzer in the top 16, and he had 2 cards in his hand. I swung with leader to make him top deck 1. I played a Flame Cannon, top deck the other. So now he has to take a life. He only has 1 card in his hand. I would swing with my Foreseeing Hit, and he would pitch the card to negate. And he has 0 cards in his hand, and I have, you know, total control. From there, it's easy win. 2 Mafubas. At first, I was like, Mafuba is good against Shenron Gogeta, but as I played Shenron Gogeta, once again, if it gets to the point where Gogeta comes out, you're not going to win that game. So it's really not for that. It's more so for Janemba matchup, where if they play the Vegito on 4 and they swing with it, you just want to Mafuba it. And especially Baby too, if they swing with the Big Ape at triple strike, you just Mafuba it. There was one game in round 1 where my opponent brought out a Buhan on me, and he swung, I Mafuba'd it, and then as soon as Mafuba was off, I played Chain Zen-Oh, and yeah, it felt pretty good.
How much Victory Strike did you come across?
I actually didn't come across Victory Strike, but I came across a couple Brawly Storms.
Gotcha.
But against Victory Strike, I don't know if I would cite it in because I do respect the battering, so I probably would not have cited it in.
Just out combo it.
Yeah, or just don't let it get to that point. And then one more planet M tier. Once again, against those certain matchups, it's really good. If they play cantrips, it's really good. One at all costs Vegeta. I didn't cite it in at all.
Pretty random one of.
Yeah, I thought it would help with the mono blue matchup, where if they're taking their time and I'm like at 5-6 life, I could play it, but it just never happened. So, if anything, I would turn this into a third flame cannon. I think that would help. Then I have one Scientist Fu.
There he is.
Yeah, once again, it's for that mono blue matchup where if they're just out advantaging you, or against Pan maybe, where they're just drawing a little bit more than you, you could play Scientist Fu and kind of catch up on the hand advantage game and the whole overall power game. It did come in clutch sometimes. Against Pan, it was actually pretty good. One more Dimension Banisher Fu. That's for the baby matchup and things that where I need that removal. One more Fu Shroud of Mystery against the Janemba matchup. I put that in as well. And then one Supreme Kylights Guide. That one was also iffy. I do like against Pan or the Mono Blue citing these two guys in and taking out stuff like Dimension Banisher Fu and Fu Shroud of Mystery. So I'll take these two out and put those two in just to give myself some overall value. And then last kind of troll but actually useful pick is the SCR Frieza. It's surprisingly really good against Janemba. You play it, and at that stage of the game, they usually have 5-6 cards in their hand, not too much. You get to see it, take out their negate, and swing to force them to use their leader ability. And if they're at 4 life, you're getting maximum value. And round 3, I played against a Janemba player, Dave, and I swung with my leader, and I put him from 5 to 4. And I was at 2 life. I kept taking all the hits he was attacking me with. I even Dimension Magicked something he was attacking me with into a battle card just so I could get to 2 life. And I swung to drop him from 5 to 4. I played the secret rare on him, and he was like, "What is this?" And I saw his hand, took out the only negate he had, swung for 40k base, and he couldn't combo it because I see his hand. So yeah,
super solid. So that's the whole deck. I mean, Red Blue Hirudegarn looks like it's making a comeback. We haven't seen this deck in a little bit. So Marcus, once again, thank you for the awesome in-depth explanation, and congratulations again on your top. Any final shout outs or anything you want to say?
Yeah, shout outs to ARG for hosting a great event. Shout outs to PPG as well for always hooking us up. And shout outs to Shenron's Lair, the best website for DBS, right?
Absolutely, 100%. Thank you again so much, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, welcome to the end card, and thank you so much for sitting through that, because honestly, I'm just doing this until I make a Digimon trading card game. So if you like Dragon Ball Super for some reason, give it a sub up above, maybe check out some of our other content, and do not forget, Digimon is way better than Pokemon. With that being said, we will see you next time.